What's up, guys? It's your girl Matt Cox from Maccouture Crafting. Let's start talking about holiday. I realize nothing that's going on here in this background or my outfit says holiday, but we're going to talk about holiday. We're going to talk about some ornaments. I'm not sure how I'm going to release these. I don't know. I know I'm not going to do them weekly. I don't know if I'm going to do just a straight 5 days of ornaments or if I'm going to do every other day. But we're going to get this ornament footage out there because I want you all to be able to start making ornaments to add to your tree or just thinking about going forward if you would be interested in doing an all handmade ornament tree, or maybe you already do an all handmade ornament tree, or maybe you see some ornaments that I have tried that you're really into or that you'd like to try in this way. I am a paper crafter first. That's probably changing. I'm probably a quilter first and a paper crafter second at this point in my crafty journey, but I started off making paper stuff and I wanted to be able to use some of the same techniques with fabric. And I realize now that you can just adhere fabric to paper and go, which is exciting. But there's a couple of other techniques on how to use fabric and get it to behave like paper. One of which is ironing Heat and Bond Ultra, the super heavy stuff, to on both sides of the fabric. So you have two things of fabric. You iron the Heat and Bond Ultra to this fabric, and then you glue them together. And it does something magical. I tried this ornament in several different ways, and I think the way that I like it the best is the Heat and Bond to the Heat and Bond. I did one with Wonder Under, and it adhered to cardstock. One side had Wonder Under on it. One side had the Heat and Bond. That's just because what I had over, and I adhered that to cardstock. And there's just a couple of different ways that I did each of the ornaments. But the ornament that I think came out the cleanest, without the little flyaways here and there, is the one where I used Heat and Bond Ultra, the one in the red box with Heat and Bond Ultra. It just behaves so beautifully. So this is going to be the spiral ornament. It's an ornament that you see done with paper, but now we can do it with fabric. You guys, if you have a ton of scraps, this is a great way to eat through your scraps. And if you are buying Heat and Bond and you're like, it's expensive, I get it, but you want to grab a bolt if you can of the Ultra when it's on sale at Joann's for 60% off. So when you have a 60% off coupon, that's when you want to go buy a ton of it. Otherwise, just buying up a ton of those little packages might get to be expensive. And yes, you can always glue fabric onto paper and it still behaves cool. But the best for this particular technique, I think, is the Wonder Under with the Wonder Under, not Wonder Under, the Heat and Bond Ultra and the Heat and Bond Ultra. It gives you a beautiful spiral ornament. And let's go on ahead and I will show you guys me making these. It's very, very simple, fun, and pretty impressive when you see how it all comes together. All right, guys, I will check you on the next video. Bye-bye. Let's get into this beautiful spiral holiday ornament. Now, I am using some Wonder Under here because I ran out of Heat and Bond because I thought I only bought one package of Heat and Bond Ultra. But the best way, in my opinion, to do this ornament is Heat and Bond Ultra on one side and Heat and Bond Ultra on the other side. I really like how clean that particular ornament came out. And that ornament was the black and red ornament that I used the Heat and Bond Ultra and the Heat and Bond Ultra and I fused them together and it gave a nice sturdy but still flexible um, strip. So here I cut down some fabric and I fused the Heat and Bond to the back of it. On some of them I fused Heat and Wonder Under, which is basically the same thing, it just behaves a little differently. And now I'm peeling off the backing sheet and I am going to iron it down to the paper. So each side of the paper will get one of these panels. And my goal is to get a panel that measures 6 inches tall by 12 inches wide. So cardstock comes in 12-inch squares, so you can get 2 pieces of cardstock if you want to use the cardstock and just cover it with paper. So here's the one where I did the Heat and Bond Ultra to the Heat and Bond Ultra, and it just, I don't know, it just behaved well. This is a 6 by 12 ruler, which is very convenient for this particular project. So I just want to be sure that the heat and bond covers the entire piece, the paper covers the entire piece. So I'm just trimming it down. That's if you use paper. If you don't use paper, you don't have to worry about that. But you just want to straighten and clean it up. I always cut everything a little bit bigger, fuse it, and then cut it down to size to make sure that that heat and bond, that sticky stuff, gets all the way to the edge. So again, this is a 6 by 12. This is a Quilter Select ruler. You guys know how I feel about my Quilter Select rulers. I love them. I hope that at some point they come out with different shapes and sizes other than just kind of these standard squares. So one of these panels has just Heat and Bond Ultra. That's the red package, not the light, but the red one, the one you cannot sew through or you're advised not to sew through. And then the other two have cardstock in between the fusible. And again, this is just because this is what I had left over from my previous project. Now I am going to cut these panels, these 6 by 12 panels, into 1-inch rectangles. So I go down the entire panel, just cutting 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch, and this should give you 12 1-inch strips. Not difficult. And yes, I chose this super weird fabric for my holiday choice. I told everybody the moment that I saw it, I just knew it was going to be my holiday fabric. People are like, how? I don't know. So I'm using something called a crocodile, which is really just a hole punch that has eyelet setters in it. And I set it so that nothing goes past 1/4 of an inch. You can just move that little bar. And I'm grabbing 3 to 4 of these at a time and I'm punching a hole. Crocodile is a good tool to have because it can go through so many different thick materials. You would be surprised. And it's not a difficult thing to pull. I know some people have hand problems. They have some that punch down, which are nice too. I have those that also work really well. But I'm just eyeballing it to make sure that they're centered, but they're all 1/4 inch tall, high. And you do that on both sides of your strip, on the top and the bottom of the strip. And I'm just eyeballing it. So I'll put it in on the bottom, then I'll flip it around and do the top. Now here comes the fun part. You need to put, so I have this hemp string. It's hemp. It's got kind of some stiffness to it. It's not just regular string. You can certainly use whatever you have, not a big deal. I'm tying a knot, not a special knot, just a regular knot at the bottom of the string so that the bead doesn't slide off. The bead is simply decoration. You don't even have to have the bead on here. I just happened to have purchased a string of beads from Joann's with a couple of like dangly crystals too, just to see what was going to happen. But there's no special knot. I just cut a knot. And I didn't measure the length of the string. I just cut some long string. It's probably about a yard. Now, very, very easy. I'm just going to put the string through the front of all of these strips. Now, because my strips are front and back, they don't have to be. They can be all one side. It's up to you. But because I wanted to kind of have a either or kind of look, I grab 6, I flip them over. I have another 6 that are just laying there. I know it seems like I'm doing a lot of talking and this might be a complicated ornament, but really, guys, it's very, very simple. I don't do stuff that's super duper duper tricky on purpose. Sometimes it happens, but not usually. So I am just going to put each one of these strips every other. So I'm going to grab one from the left pile, I'm going to grab one from the right pile, and we're just going to string them. So here we have the masks facing up. So we're going to place the blue one facing up next. Not difficult. Then we're going to grab a black one. And I think I used the smaller hole to punch holes with the crocodile. The crocodile comes with like a 1/8 and then I think a 1/4 hole punch on either side. So again, this is not difficult. We are just putting them all on there. And now that we have them all strung on this string, again, nice and easy. Now you can see that they are, you know, lined up. Now you're going to take the string and you're going to go back through the front of all of these. So we went through, and laid them all down, and now you're just going to pull them up and go through the front. Pull one up and go through the front. And that one there will go on top of the other one. See? You see how it's all coming together? Again, not difficult. You just pull it up. Don't think about it. Don't worry about it. And just pull it, pull it, pull it. And it's kind of like those bows that you get during the holiday season where you just pull the string and then it becomes a bow. Same thing. You just kind of pull it down and work with it. And then it becomes this little spiral. So then I'm going to throw another bead at the top to kind of keep it all together and keep some pressure on there and tie a knot. And that's pretty much it. This is not, a difficult ornament. It looks difficult, it looks impressive, and it changes its shape depending upon how much you pull it and where you tie the knot. This one here, I kept kind of a looser spiral. I've got some other ones that are definitely more tight, but isn't that pretty? This blue looks kind of denim on this one. I don't know why. It's giving kind of denim vibes, but no worries. And so I just tied a knot and then I just tied a loop in there. Nothing special. I just made a loop. And then I cut off the excess string with my rotary cutter. And there you have it, an ornament. So then I took one of those long dangly crystal stones that you see at Joann's. You see one that's sitting there on my table to the right. I mean, it's clear, so it looks funny, but it's still attached to the tag. And it's just like a drop crystal. And I simply tied that hemp cord through there, through the area. It's just like the same exact thing as a bead. So I tied the string through that. No special knot, just like you tie just tie a knot. And I separated the strips again so that I can get a every other kind of look. And now we're just putting them back on there again. Nothing special. So you put it on one way, and then after you're all finished putting them all on, you just turn it on its side and start pulling from the back. So the very first one that you took should be the very first one that you put on there should be the very first one that you string. And we're just tying it up again. I'm doing it one more time for this last ornament. The drops that I bought were slightly different in the shape and the size. So I just throw a bead on there with this one just to add some variation between these. I think I like the colorway on this one, but the way that it behaved the best with the black and the red one. And at the end, you'll see a picture of all of them. So I'm just putting more beads on here just because. No rhyme or reason. You might have a special look that you're going for. Of course, you can change out the beads, the colors of the beads. Do what you want to do. And you can even put little spacers between each of the layers. I've seen people do that, those little spacer beads. I really can't tell the difference so much, so here we go again. The first one on is the first one through. So that one goes, and then this next one is just going to lay on top of it. And you just keep going and going. And there you have the spirals. I hope you guys enjoyed these. They're fun. They have a nice little drop to them. There we go. And I will catch you guys on the next video. If you haven't done so already, please like, comment, and subscribe. All right, bye-bye.